Sometimes you will want to run the same block of code many times with little variation. For example, let's say you have a slideshow with 100 images, and you need to load and place all of the thumbnails. It would be very tedious to copy and paste the loading and placing code 100 times. So to save time and to be more organized, you can use a loop and write the code only once and have it repeat itself 100 times. What we're going to do here is use a loop to place the trash cans on the stage. I'm going to align the trash cans to the Y position of the second trash can. If you don't have access to the exercise files, just create 9 instances of any movie clip and name them can1_MC, can2_MC, etc., all the way through can9_MC. Let's go to the first keyframe of the Actions layer and open the Actions panel. Here I've added all these cans to a trash cans array. Note that these values are not in quotes because they are referring to instances on the stage. Now let's take a look at writing a loop to modify the position of each of these objects. Type the word for, some parentheses, and some curly braces. Notice the parentheses and curly braces are becoming common. We use them for functions, for the if statements, switch case statements, and for this for loop here. So inside of the parentheses, type var space I, lowercase, colon uint, UINT. This is another data type that starts with a lowercase letter. We'll set that equal to 0. And by the way, uint is a positive integer, so a whole number 0 and above. Semicolon after that 0. Then I less than. This is going to run 9 times, once for each of the trash cans. A semicolon and then I++. Let's walk through what this line of code does. These 3 different sections of the loop specify different things. The first part is called the iterator variable. This is going to be a variable that we'll use inside of the loop. So we declare the variable just like any other variable. We call it I for iterator, but it could be anything you want. Declare the data type as a positive integer and set the value equal to 0. That's the starting value for the loop. You can set it at any value you want, but most of the time it's going to be 0. The next part refers to how many times the loop will run. The loop will run as long as I is less than 9. Finally, you explain what will happen after each time the loop runs. I++ means to increment I by 1 or add 1 to it each time the loop runs. So just to see the loop in action, type trace inside of the loop, and in the parentheses for the trace statement, just type I. Make sure not to put it in quotes. So if you test the movie and take a look in the output window, you'll see the numbers 0 through 8. Let's go back to the code. And that corresponds to an index of the array. Or at least we can tell Flash to make that correspond to an index of the array. So what we'll do is erase the trace statement and place the trash cans. To do that, we'll reference the trash cans through the array. So type trash cans, index I, which means you put I inside of square brackets. So that's referring to a trash can each time. And then type .y. That refers to the vertical position of the object. And we'll set that equal to can2_MC.y. So we're aligning each object to the y position of can2_MC. So let's test the movie and see the code in action. So now all the trash cans are aligned. Remember, if you look at the stage, they're not aligned. So you can use a loop to do that. And the great thing about it is it doesn't matter if we have 9 trash cans or 10,000 trash cans. Modifying this code is as simple as modifying that number. Finally, if you really want to optimize this code, and have it update based on the size of the array, you can change the 9 value to be the length of the array, or how many items are in the array. So change that to trash cans dot length. Again, that refers to the number of items that are inside of the array, which right now is 9. That way, if you ever change the array, you won't have to update the for loop. So test the movie again, show that it's working. Now if I were to click and drag and erase, let's say almost all of the cans inside of the array, so I only have 3 cans now. If I test the movie, then only the first 3 cans will be aligned. So I don't have to update the loop. So this is a pretty simple example, but you can see how a loop can save you so much time. So using a for loop, you can perform the same block of code on every object in an array and save loads of time building your applications.